going to talk to you today about Smartsheet basics. So we'll go over some basic terminology, talk through key Smartsheet assets, as well as navigation with plenty of examples. So these are the building blocks of Smartsheet. These are your main assets within Smartsheet. So you have sheets, reports, and dashboards. Think of sheets just similar to Excel sheets. They're just spreadsheets. We do use forms to populate sheets. So the front end will be a form. Somebody will type in things into the form, submit the form, and then the data from the form goes into a sheet. So that's how those two are connected. And again, they're basically just spreadsheets. There are different ways to view that information in a sheet, but just understand that's basically what they are. And then this is the icon associated with sheets. Then we have reports. So reports are customized views of the data contained within the sheets. So reports just pull in information from different source sheets. Take all that information in. You can select what columns you want to see. So say you have 100 columns in a sheet, but you only care about 3. You can choose the columns that you want to see in a report. And then from there, you can also add filters. So this report is just a very streamlined view of things that are contained within the sheets, but again, it's a little bit more manageable, a little bit more customizable. And then finally, we have dashboards, and dashboards are basically just like a website. It's a very high-level summary of all of the data that you want to see. That information can be pulled from various sheets and reports. There's different types of widgets that you can put on a dashboard, charts, metrics, visualization. It's like a website, just helping you visualize that information. And I like to show this little flow to understand how all these things are working together. So we have the form, and you don't always need a form, but it is a good way to capture information. So you can use a form to collect all your data. And then again, the front end of the form, once it's submitted, goes into the back end of the sheet. And then from that sheet, you can, pull information from the data sheets into different reports, filter, change columns, look at different things in different ways in these reports. And then from there, you can actually visualize reports on a dashboard, just like a website. And there's other widgets besides reports that you can put on a dashboard, but that's just kind of a flow of how all these things are working together. So I also want to talk through permission settings. So within Smartsheet, there's different types of permission settings. So we have the owner, which is the person that created the sheet or whatever Smartsheet asset you're talking about. So again, when I say asset, I'm thinking sheets, reports, or dashboards. Then you have the admin. And so the admin is the highest level of permission. If the person is an admin and also has a Smartsheet license, then they can create new tools. They can adjust the fundamental features of any of these Smartsheet assets. So they can add columns, they can edit locked rows, etc. Somebody that is an admin with a license can do a lot of different things within Smartsheet. If you are an editor in Smartsheet, then you can just edit sheets. You can't fundamentally change anything. You can't add new columns, but you can edit things. You could be an editor that is allowed to share, or you could be an editor that is not allowed to share. Then we have viewer. So there's a viewer, there's also a commenter, which is new. And that's somebody that can view the sheets and reports, but can't edit or share them. A commenter, similarly, can comment, but they can't edit or share. So let's actually take a quick peek into Smartsheet so we can look at these things and get some examples. Here we can see this is a sheet asset. So we can see by the blue icon that that's just a spreadsheet. I use this for various testing to kind of show some examples in my other videos, but you can see this is just a spreadsheet. If I wanted to create a report, you can create a report here. And again, that's kind of what it looks like with the orange journal icon. And then a dashboard is here. So that's kind of what they all look like together. So if we look at sharing up at the top right-hand corner on the sheet, I'm the only person shared to this, and I'm the owner of the sheet. So this is where you can add people, invite them to look at the sheet. You can choose their access level. So again, we have admin, editor can share, editor cannot share, commenter, or viewer. If you wanted to email a link of this project, you could click here and just do copy link, and then you can send this via email if you want. If you want to review other people's permissions on a Smartsheet asset, again, you can click that top right-hand corner share button, and then it'll show you who is shared the sheet and on what level. So this shows me there's 12 people that are collaborating on the sheet at various different levels. Doug is the owner, Caitlin is an admin, and then I am also an admin. This is just a good way to see who shared to things, on what level they're shared to things. Are they shared on the sheet level, or are they shared on the workspace level, which I'll get into later. Now, there are some fundamental principles when dealing with these different Smartsheet assets. So for a report, for example, you can edit any cells in a report if you have the correct permissions, obviously. And when you click save on that report after you've made those changes will reflect in the source sheet. So whatever you edit in the report, that will be reflected in the source sheet automatically. Those things are linked. Things you cannot do inside a report is you cannot add a new row or delete rows. The only thing you can do to remove rows is change the filter on the report to exclude those rows. You can also not edit any columns with formulas or lock columns within a report. Things you can do inside a report, you could edit the cells, you can export to Excel or PDF, and you can send the report on a schedule. So I think the biggest thing I usually see is people are trying to add new rows or delete rows from a report, and you cannot do that. All right, so if I open this report and show you an example, so you can see I'm not able to click or add any rows. I can't delete any rows. I can only delete data in these specific cells. If I wanted to remove some of the information on here, I would simply change my filter on my report. So if I look at this report, these are the basic components of a report. So this is your source sheet. So it's showing what sheets are pulling in to this report. You can select what columns you want. So what information do I want to view? Maybe I don't need to see when it was modified or created, so I can exclude those from this report. And then I apply a filter to the report. So I only want to see tasks that have not been started yet. So I just simply say status is one of not started. So it'll show me tasks that have not been started yet. If I wanted to include tasks that were completed or in progress, then honestly, I could probably just take this whole condition off and it would show me everything. And that's basically how reports work. Again, you have a source sheet, you select your columns, you select your filter criteria. There's some other things that you can add on to a report to make it nice, but those are the basic components. Next, we have editing a sheet. So if you go to a sheet that you have, you can do a lot of things within a sheet. Again, it's very similar to a spreadsheet. You can add columns, you can do conditional formatting in here. It's very similar to Excel in my opinion, but a little bit more powerful. So I'm not going to get into too many crazy details here. A few things I do want to call out: you can attach a file to the row on the left-hand side of that row. You can add a comment. So you can add a comment, you can actually tag somebody in this comment if you want to, and then it'll send them an email. And you can also add a proof. So if you have a file and you want to, have other people make comments or review it, then you could add a proof on that row, and there is a proofing tool. There is an option to set a reminder. So here you could set a reminder and say, hey, in a week, send myself an email to make sure I get this done. That's not necessarily the most efficient way to do this because there's many ways to remind yourself of things, but it is an option on the row level as well. All right, and then the final topic I want to cover is navigating Smartsheet. So I think a lot of people have trouble navigating, and let's review this together. So the left-hand side of your screen, there's the navigation toolbar. This is what you're going to use to navigate all over Smartsheet. So basically at the very top, you have the home button, and this is going to take you to the screen here. It's going to show you all the things that you're shared to, and it's basically an algorithm that recommends different Smartsheet assets to you that you may want to view. This is not the best place to come and look for what you're looking for necessarily, but it is an option if you see it right here and you want to click into it. Okay, there it is. But there's better ways to navigate within Smartsheet. The next thing is the little bell icon on your navigation toolbar. That's notifications. It'll show you things that you are tagged in, anything you've been assigned to. If people are requesting access to something, this is where it's going to show up. It's going to have a little red number by it if you haven't read it. And then once you read it and kind of click on it, that red number will go away. You can navigate directly to the sheet or whatever you're tagged in from here, which is really nice. Then we have the search. So if you search something in Smartsheet, it'll search everything that you're shared to. So you can use the search bar to search things within Smartsheet, and it'll come up with a list of results, and then you can click through to what you're looking for. Then we have the browse button, and this is the best way to navigate Smartsheet. So it's the little folder icon on this navigation toolbar. It will show you your Sheets folder. So that's like your own personal folder. You may be shared to things within this folder from other people, so keep an eye out for that. So workspaces are essentially like a folder, so to speak. You can be shared on the workspace level, and as you are being shared to these Smartsheet items, if you're shared to the overarching workspace, you'll be shared to everything that's created within it. And this is really good for making sure that people kind of stay in their lane and that you're managing permissions correctly. So say you have different departments at a company and you don't want other departments to see what other people are working on or whatever just because it's overwhelming, you can create workspaces by department and then share to the people in those departments on the workspace level. So it just kind of keeps everybody focused and organized. You could also have workspaces by project. If you want certain people to be able to view different projects, you could also do it that way. But what's really nice about workspaces is that if you organize your workspaces correctly, it should make finding things very easy because, again, if you're organizing things on a department level, then you can navigate to that department workspace from there, maybe look at folder structure and so on and so forth to kind of like navigate through. All right, so continuing on the navigation toolbar, then we have your recent. So this will show you things that you've recently opened. You can have your favorites, so anything that you favorited. Say I favorite this project sheet. You can favorite on a sheet level or like asset level, and then you can also favorite on a folder level, which is really nice. And then go to your favorites, and then you can see the things that you favorited for easy access. There is resource management within Smartsheet. However, I'm not going to get into it in this tutorial. There's also work apps. Again, that's kind of like a more complex add-on in Smartsheet. This little button, you could actually create things from here, and this shows you the different templates that Smartsheet has. It's up to you whether you want to create something from scratch or if you want to create something using a template. If you did create something from scratch, you'd go into whatever workspace or folder where you'd want to save the asset, and you could create a sheet using any of these. These are basically all just different variations of sheets, or a report or a dashboard, or you could import an Excel sheet from here. You could create a folder or workspace as well. But if you click this button, it'll take you to the templates, and then you could create a Smartsheet asset using a template. This is a launcher, so if you have any Smartsheet add-ons like Data Shell, Control Center, this is where you would access those. This is just the help button, and then this is your like account profile, or all your personal settings, notification settings, account information will live here. So hopefully that was helpful to understand the different Smartsheet terminology, understanding the relationship between sheets, reports, and dashboards, and basic navigation skills to help you on your Smartsheet journey.